A coin is biased so that heads is 3 times as likely to appear as tails. Biased. Biased means the events are not equally likely, understand. The coin is made in such a way. The coin is made in such a way that getting 3 times head is equal to getting 1 tail. If such a coin is tossed twice, such a coin is tossed twice, find the probability that head occurs at least once. At least once. And always remember, at least once case is very, very important. How it is important, I'll tell you. Probability of at least once is equal to 1 minus probability of none. Very important, please. You will be getting this many times and it will also be useful to simplify the problem easily. So probability of at least once is equal to 1 minus probability of none. Why should it be taken in the problems? At least once means if the experiment is conducted for 10 times, let me say 10 times. If you want at least once, what happens? You have to count all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on up to 10 you have to count. That means you have to write 10 different cases. But if you need at least once, and if I know probability of getting the same event none, that means that will not happen. That will not happen. Then if I subtract, that means I'm finding the negation. I'm finding the negation, non-occurrence. We need at least one occurrence. At least one occurrence is equal to 1 minus probability of none of them occur. None of them occur. None of them occur means probability of x equal to like you can show this in this way. P of x is greater than or equal to 1. Greater than or equal to 1 means either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, as many times as it occurs. Okay, it's nothing but 1 minus probability of x is less than 1. Equal to 1 it starts. It starts from 1. But less than 1, we don't want. We don't want. That is why it is subtracted from 1, which is nothing but 1 minus p of x equal to 0. Understand? So, probability of x greater than or equal to 1 can always be written as 1 minus probability of x equal to 0. I'll explain it more in the random variables. Okay. Now, in this case, a coin is biased in such a way that getting head and getting tail are biased. Biased means the coin is made in such a way that if it is tossed for 4 times, then head comes for 3 times. Then tail comes for only 1 time, 1 by 4. Okay, so probability of getting head is 3 by 4, probability of getting tail is 1 by 4. Understand? So what we want here, that head occurs at least once. So none of the heads occur, we will take that. That is, head occurs at least once means how many times coin is tossed? If such a coin is tossed twice. Twice means it's simple. You can understand head, 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 tail, tail, head, tail, tail. That means this case we want. This case we don't want. We will take this only. Because it is 3 cases, but it is only 1 case. We will take this and we'll substitute that here. So that you'll get at least 1 case. So required probability in this case is equal to 1 minus. None of the heads occur. None of the heads occur. None of the heads occur means you must get both times tail. What is the probability of getting tail here? 1 by 4. And 1 by 4. Y into intersection. T, intersection T. Both the T, intersection means into. You'll get, so 16 minus 1, it is 15 upon 16 is the required probability. Okay. Next. 3 students, just you go through that. 3 students, A and B and C, are in a swimming race. A and B have the same probabilities of winning. That means P of A is equal to P of B. What is the data given? P of A is equal to P of B. And each is twice as likely to win as C. That is, P of A is equal to twice P of C, and P of B is also equal to twice P of C. That is the data given. Find the probability that B or C wins. B or C wins. Assume no two reach the winning points simultaneously. No two reach the winning points simultaneously. So according to the data, I'll give you just the hints and you work out that on your own. It is a simple problem. That is, you are given that P of A and P of B are equal, and each is equal to twice of P of C. How many are there in the competition? Only 3 are there. So they are mutually exclusive events, and the sample space consists of only 3. That is why understand P of A plus P of B plus P of C is equal to 1. What does it mean? P of A union B union C is equal to 1. The sample space, probability of sample space is always equal to 1. So in this case now, if I take P of A as it is, and P of B also P of A, and P of C as half P of A, then it becomes 2 plus 1 by 2. It is P of A is nothing but 4 plus 1, 5 by 2. It is 2 by 5, which is nothing but P of B. Implies P of C is nothing but twice half of, that is 1 by 5. You got all the 3 values. Now, what is required here? Either B or C union. Union. P of B or C. P of B or C. Find the probability of P of B or C wins. So, P of B or C union C, which is nothing but P of B plus P of C minus. They're winning because it depends on their capacity. They are independent events only. They are independent events only. B's swimming does not depend on C's swimming, or C's swimming does not depend on B's swimming. So they are independent events only. You have to write P of B into P of C. You got all the value, substitute, and get the answer. It's very simple. Now, if you see the Bayes theorem, which is an interesting theorem. Bayes theorem, we'll work out the problems based on that tomorrow, but for the sake of introduction, let me say, what is the Bayes theorem? Bayes theorem is very simple. You will have the classical definition with little alteration. In the classical definition, you will have favorable number of outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. But in the Bayes theorem, you will have favorable probability divided by total probability. Favorable probability divided by total probability. The same. Whatever the advancements are taken place there, they are all based on the classical definition only. In this case, what happens? An event occurs with different events. An event A occurs with different events PQR. Then we need the probability of the event A to occur with some Q. PQR are the different events. Along with PQR, A happens, and we will be needing the probability of A to occur along with Q. Then in such a case, you must know what is the total probability and what is the favorable probability. The total probability, for example, you have purchased a bike in a showroom, and after using that bike, let us suppose you got a repair of the bike. Then you have taken that to the company, and the bike is under warranty. The company has to replace the bike. But the company, in its record, the company has 3 different plants in the country wherein these bikes are manufactured. These bikes are manufactured. So he has that data that, let me say, the plants are PQR. Plant P produces some 30% of bikes. I repeat, plant P produces 30% of bikes. And plant Q produces 40% of bikes. Plant R produces 30% of bikes. And he has also this data that plant P produces 0.5% defective bikes. And plant Q produces 3/4% defective bikes. And plant R produces 1/3% defective bikes. He has that data. Okay, but he needs, his data is missing because whatever the bike you have taken, where from that bike has come, he doesn't have that data. Then he is interested to know, he is suspicious about plant Q. Then what he'll do, he will find out in what way, what is the probability of getting the bike from plant Q. What is the probability of getting the bike from plant Q? Then in such a case, we make use of Bayes' theorem. The problems are very interesting and also very simple, even though the problems looks to be very big, but solving is very easy for you. We will continue the problems. I'll write the definition of Bayes' theorem tomorrow and I'll explain it, and we'll be continuing doing the problems on Bayes' theorem in the tomorrow's class. Keep watching.